Greetings, beautiful people. Let me see if I can adjust this a little bit better before we get started, but I'm not going to want to move any further. I guess we're kind of set. Might be able to do, let me see. Nope. Yeah, that's as good as it's going to get. Welcome. This is a new spread that I came up with. I've been mulling on my mind for the last couple of days. And it's kind of has to do with, it's all about being a woman in a menstrual cycle. But it came about because of the two things. The Food, Body, Weight, and Beliefs Tarot Map by Amanda Goldstein. And also when the tarot map there, she did the Dark Times Tarot, and in it she talked about the menstrual cycle. And I think this can tie in with the weight and body image because this is something women go through. And by the time this is all up and posted, I will have the spread on my blog, and the link will be below. But basically, so that you can read about it, and I won't have to go into it here because I really only have about 30 minutes with my camera, so I don't want to explain too much, but that's how I came up with this. And so I have the cards already, I've shuffled, I got the cards already laid out, but I haven't looked at them yet. So I broken it down into like a 4x4 group. The first group is the teen years, the second is young adult years, and then it goes into older adult, and then menopausal years. Anybody can use this spread, as long as you've started your period. Any woman can use this spread. It doesn't, even though it's in 4 different groups of age groups, it still can give you a great idea of how you really feel about being a woman and having a menstrual cycle. So here we go with card number 1. And the question is, how did you feel about your cycle before it started? So I have 5 of Cups. I see the beautiful 5 of Cups here. Again, this is my Druid craft. I just love this deck. I'm enjoying working with it so much. So I'm looking down into the watery depths. The fish are jumping. 2 behind, where the other 3 spilt. I didn't feel too great about it. I think I was scared about it. I was nervous about it. And I was sad about it. But as much as being sad about it, I was happy about it because I wanted to be a woman. So it was really a lot. It was really a lot of turmoil. That's for sure. It was not. It was very emotional. We'll leave it at that, and then I'll go on to the next one. The second question is, how did your body respond when your cycle started? I got the King of Pentacles. That's an interesting concept. But what I notice here is the fire. You know, I'm thinking of the stern old man here. The stern father figure. The fire, you know. The fire, because there's fire. Even though he's pentacles, right? He is surrounded by fire. And then there was the bird singing. So to me, there's a lot of contradictory in here. So on the one hand, it was quite a stern and rough experience. But on the other hand, they had the bird singing. You know, in this corner you can see the bird here. So I would say my body responded with fire because it was quite painful for me. And the third question is, how did you feel emotionally when your cycle started? So what was the emotional response? Eight of Pentacles. So here we see somebody pouring a mold, working hard at the foundation of his life. So, Eight of Pentacles. That's I wouldn't have expected Pentacles to show up. And emotionally, how did you feel when your cycle started? Emotionally, I felt relieved because now I was really becoming a woman. I wasn't a child anymore, so I was moving into something new, into a new awareness. And still I see the element of fire, even though it's Pentacles. So it was still a very fiery experience. It was intense. So I think I felt intense emotionally also. Number 4 question is, did you feel supported with your cycle? I think the answer is nope, not at all. You know, I was told it was a curse. You know, it was something you just had to deal with no matter how you felt. So I really did not feel supported at all. You know, it was very... The beliefs were so contradictory. And I'm sure for a lot of you women it was that way. It was really contradictory. So the answer for that is no, not at all. Okay, I want to move it right along, and then I will sit with these cards myself for a while. Number 5 was, what was your relationship with your cycle as a young adult? So in other words, you moved past the teenage years, and now you're an adult, you know. So what was your relationship? Well, it looks like I was having a party. 3 of Cups. Wow, I didn't think... I guess it was pretty good as a young adult. Seems like I was celebrating it with my friends. I don't remember it being that way, though. But it must have been something at the time that made me feel good as a young adult. You know, it must have been something that, again, I think I was happy to be a woman and with her cycle. Okay. And the next question is, how do you feel about being a woman? So this is anything, everything. I love this card. How do I feel about being a woman? Lots of times you gotta hide it, right? Doesn't mean it's a bad feeling, but you gotta be hide. It's a mystery. It's a going within. So it's a lot about going within. Yeah. Okay, let's go. Like I said, I want to move right along here and then really take time to go over myself. How did your cycle affect your work or career? I think this is a very important question. Even though this says rebirth, how did it affect your work or career? It's also the card of judgment. And it was a lot of judgmental people. I can remember the last job that I worked at, one of my supervisors, I can always tell when you on your cycle because you carry a bag with you when you go into the bathroom. You know, don't spend too much time in there. So it was always a negative thing, you know. Yeah, bosses never wanted you to take time that you needed when you went to the bathroom. You know, it was always seemed to be an issue. So there was always some type of judgment around it. Okay, then the next one is twofold. It depends if you were a parent or if you weren't. In my case, I wasn't a parent. So it would be, how did your cycle affect your children? How did you relate to your children? Or for somebody that wasn't a parent, how did it affect your home life? Princess of Cups. Well, we know princesses are, yeah. Princess of Cups, emotional. I know it affected the family because I was emotional. Every time my cycle would come, I was highly emotional. So that always seemed to create drama with the household. It wasn't intentional, but it was like no one would give me a break, that I had the space. The space that I needed to have to be emotional. That was never supported. And, you know, you might get the saying, like, oh, well, that explains it. She's on her cycle. No wonder she's being such a bitch. But when really, you just needed that time to be alone. Because in Native American cultures and indigenous cultures, a woman's moon was celebrated. And you had a chance to be by yourself or to be with other women at that time. And we've lost that. So now we're going on to an older adult. And this is more about questions when you're older. So, how do you feel about aging? Aging. How do you feel about aging? I got the Lovers. She's embracing, and I would say I've embraced it in a lot of ways. I really have. Life is about cycles, and we go through changes, you know, all the time. And, yeah, life is about cycles. I really think I am embracing it. Okay. So here's another question. It's a double question, because how did your cycle affect your spouse? Or if you didn't have a spouse, how did your cycle affect your intimate relationships? And I got Queen of Cups. Well, yeah, it was very emotional for me. Well, it wasn't as much fun, and to be honest here, when I was on my cycle, of course, it was not, you know, I couldn't pleasure my boyfriend, so, you know, we had to be creative, and I wasn't really into it then. You know, it was an emotional time. I didn't want to really be bothered, and just like at home, you know, yeah, it was emotionally, because your emotions are so heightened at that time of the month. Okay, moving on to question 11. What is your biggest fear about aging? Ace of Swords. It's all about, yeah, I think losing my mental faculties. I've noticed changes, you know, as I'm getting older, that I'll lose that mental focus. That I won't have the sharpest focus that I need mentally. That's a good card for that. What is your view on menopause? Is question 12. And we got the Wheel. It's a cycle. It's part of life. It's like I'm embracing aging. I'm embracing the cycle of life. It's nothing I can fight against. It's something every woman goes through. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. So I am embracing the cycle. Okay, now we moved on to the fourth and final role, and I call this the menopausal years. But still, after you hear the question, you will realize that it can be done at any age. What is your relationship with your uterus? So this is more specific. The uterus is my Lord and Master, and sometimes, in this interesting woman, he has horns, or she has horns. Notice the shape of the horns, right? This could almost be the ovaries up here, and this is the fallopian tubes, right? And then his head. Sorry, guys. This may be for caution, maybe for women only, right? The head could be the symbol of the uterus, right? So the uterus, I think the relationship is, the uterus is the ruler. It seems to has been the ruler of my life. It has dictated what I can do in my life, when and what I can do in my life. I think that's a perfect card for that. Okay, moving on. What is your biggest regret regarding being a woman? My biggest regret about being a woman. The Magician. Oh, I know, the Magician. Not being looked on for, not being realized for the wisdom that I have. Being dismissed. Because, you know, women can be dismissed so easily. So not being known or allowed, not for people to listen to my wisdom. I think that's what that's about. Okay. I should have got a clock so I knew the time. Okay, what is my best gift of my uterus? What is my best gift? Oh boy. My best gift. It's caused me a lot of worry over the years. That's my best gift. Oh boy. What is my best gift? Well, let's see. If we look at this card in from a different perspective, we could say there's a saying that sometimes when we bleed, we release a lot of stuff that we've been holding within inside us. So, in some ways, when that happens, it's a relief. It's a release of all that pent-up emotion at times. It certainly is a big release after the cycle is over and it's there's a big release. That's what I would say with that one. What is the biggest secret you hold within your uterus? What is it? Women tend to hold emotion, feelings, thoughts, things they don't want to look at within the uterus. So what is the biggest secret that I hold within my uterus? The Prince of Wands. Now, could that be because they say that every person, we'll say person here, that a woman has sex with, she retains some of that person's DNA. And that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking about a person that I was with most of my I can't go into detail on that, but that's what my biggest secret I'm thinking. The Prince of Wands. Or it could be my secret fire, too. That is interesting. Well, that's it. I hope you'll enjoy the spread. I hope you will share this out with everybody. I hope some of you will try this out for me. And I'm noticing here as I look back at all the cards laid out and I look at the patterns, look at it and see. Please give me feedback on what you think. And share this out. Thank you so much. Over and out, people.